Hey guys, just a quick instant reaction for what was a crazy game. North London Derby, Arsenal wins 3-2 away at Tottenham, but my goodness. Talk about roller coaster. I was watching this game with a bunch of Arsenal fans at the local bar here in Houston, and first of all, I was breaking it. Like I was nervous before the game. It's always this way between whenever this game is about to happen. Even when we are far, far better than Tottenham, um, the results tend to not reflect who's a better team. And when they've been better than us, especially during the Pochettino years, I remember, several results that went our way. So it's been a fixture basically where the team who plays at home draws or wins for the best part of the last 20 plus years, I would say, maybe even going further back than that. But today, we find ourselves with a 3 goal lead going into halftime. And that was, my God, like the own goal was a gift, and whenever you get an own goal, it's a gift. I also think Bukayo Saka's goal, is probably the best of the lot in terms of like the build up and the quick counter attacking play. Kai Havertz, but it starts from the other side where there could have been potentially a foul slash penalty for Tottenham. I don't think it should have been a penalty. I remember Arsenal getting screwed at Wolves for something like that one time when David Luiz, one of their forwards, he's ahead of David Luiz. He kicks back onto David Luiz's knee, falls down. They get a penalty, and Luiz's play is sent off. I'm glad they didn't give that one. That would have been a harsh one, even if Arsenal were also appealing for that. That I don't like penalties like that. And so they played on. We go the other way. Bukayo Saka basically has his way with Ben Davis and clinical finish. Nothing else to say there. 2-0 up, and Kai Havertz gives us a third goal. I want to say about 38th minute or so, like 38, just before 40 minutes. Good header. Yeah, Spurs were really bad at set pieces. You would think, having had 2 weeks to study your next opponent, that they would have, first of all, identified the Ben White role and just find a way to neutralize that. We got 2 goals from set pieces, and both times Ben White, I think, has done enough, just enough to get the keeper away. Stop the keeper from getting to the ball, especially for the own goal. I think the keeper has a chance of saving that if he doesn't have Ben White in front of him and kind of blocking him. But it's legal. It's a fair football play. I'm surprised that Tottenham were that bad in those two situations. Outside of that, they actually played okay. Tottenham, they played like the fresher team. They had most of the ball. They were trying to basically make it into a basketball game, and I'm very, very happy that Arsenal set back. I mean, the game ended with 62% possession. Probably a lot of that is game state because we were 3-0 up at halftime. But I also think it reflects even the times when the game was closer. I remember them, almost thinking they scored. I mean, thinking they scored the equalizer, and it turned out to be offside. So the game was probably more in their hand. The ball was mostly in their hands, but I think we had more control of the game without the ball. Except for a few times we did have a few hairy moments, but I think overall Arsenal had control of the game, and then we invited Tottenham to the party. And just want to say a few things about that. Like I think David Raya is going to come in for a lot of criticism from many Arsenal fans, and you have every right to criticize him. Personally, I think even though he makes the error that gives him life, I think he played really well after that and before. But I really really like how he just from that moment on, just forgot about that. Came and claimed lots of crosses. He was very big. He didn't hide. He was very big in seeing that game out. The Declan Rice penalty on Ben Davis, that can happen. So like I think there were freakish goals. They were gifts, but they were kind of freakish in a way. Like David Raya, we asked him to be a playmaker from the back. We asked him to almost play like a center half. I think he changes his mind of which pass he wants to play in the middle of like moving his foot and makes bad contact with the ball. If you ask a goalkeeper to be a playmaker, he's going to misplace a few passes. And maybe this was one of those days. Thankfully, we were able to see it through. You know, on-field players, which we asked Raya to play like one of them, misplaced passes lots of times. Tomiyasu today misplaced too many passes at like 0-0 and at 1-0 up. Felt like his passing was letting him down. So like, this happens in a football match, especially when you ask a goalkeeper to be a kicker. And to play the ball with his feet. It's gonna happen. Yeah, I guess the result will determine the way this game is being understood. I think Tottenham were probably worth a goal, maybe two. I just didn't like the way they scored the goals they did get. Arsenal, on the other hand, showed a level of maturity. Thomas Partey was immense in midfield. Odegaard, Saka, and Havertz, I was hoping they would have been given a break at some point in this game, but they all made big contributions. Surprised Jesus never came off the bench. Maybe for Saka at the end, or for Kai, because they all both have had a lot of minutes in them. I don't want to say, Kivio should have come in earlier. I wasn't calling for that sub. I thought when we're 3-0 up, we would have benefited from fresh legs up front, continue to sit deep and try to hit them on the counterattack. And then, we made some errors that, how many times in a season you're going to get that, exactly that, the freakish thing of Ben Davies coming from behind Declan Rice. It happens very few times, but it happens. And you can kind of like understand it. When you win the game, you can move on. I think got the 3 points. I was worried about the 3 points. I was expecting a game that became what we saw in the last 25, 30 minutes. I was expecting that for most of the game, but for maybe a 25, 30-minute period there, my heart rate was low because the players had played really well. So can't really blame them too much for anything that happened leading up to the final result. Like, I think we can learn from them, and it's always nice to learn and win, And I think this is one of those days. You just have to take the win and move on. You had two of your consistent performers, Golden Glove winner, probably one of the signings of the season in all of the Premier League. They made the errors today, and it's going to be someone else's turn next time. Good thing that the team saw it out. And we move. 3 games to go. Manchester City, as I record, is 1-0 up at halftime. And one final thing. Kai Havertz was actually, according to Arteta in his post-match conference, was ill, and he wasn't well enough to play today, leading up to the game. And considering that, like the fact that he did what he did, assist, goal, that's awesome. This team is for real. This team is for real. I don't know what else people need to see that this team is for real, but this team is for real. And going into the summer, it's going to be very, very interesting to see what Arteta does to help us go another step, because we do need a bit more players on the bench, so we'll be able to sit down some of these guys I've been talking about the last few weeks. All right, I'm going to stop here, guys. Cheers.